Today I'm filming outside the Baum Walker Field at the University of Arkansas. I was just thinking about in the area of leadership, there's a lot of temptation with the kind of popularity that comes with American sports or other areas where the crowd has a huge influence. And I think about even Jesus' own disciples just before the triumphal entry. His disciples are fighting over, in fact, one of their moms gets involved in who's the greatest disciple, who gets to sit on his right and left hand when he comes in his kingdom. And you wonder about the sway of the crowd that's been happening to the disciples. And here they're about to come in the triumphal entry, and they seem to carry over their battle of who's priority, who's getting credit, who's most significant, because by the time we get a few days later, they come to the upper room and they don't even wash their own feet. They're all too arrogant and too prideful to even consider washing their own feet, let alone each other's feet. And when Jesus comes into the upper room, a moment where Jesus washes their feet and says, hey, you quit using this idea of who's more significant than the other. Let's serve. Whoever's the servant of the other is the most significant. One of the temptations in leadership is the ones seeking credit or seeking attention or seeking the accolades. Well, here we are in front of a stadium where right now Arkansas is playing Tennessee in the final regular season game of the SEC, and the crowd is cheering. You know, every time something good happens, the crowd cheers. And if you're a player in this environment, and in fact, step that up to Major League Baseball where they play in front of crowds that are 3 or 4 times this size, the temptation is that the roar of the crowd will sway. I want credit. I want that kind of accolade. I want that to be my place in the world. I want someone clapping for me that way. So in the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus warns his disciples about this type of seeking of credit. Remember when he tells them, when you're praying, don't pray out on the street seeking attention, but instead go into a hidden place, go into a quiet place, go into a closet and pray there. Your Father who sees things in secret will hear your prayers. This isn't about getting credit from other people about how spiritual we are. He says that about giving too. When you give in such a way that your left hand and your right hand don't even know what the other hand's doing. Give in a way that you don't even get credit to yourself, let alone looking for credit from other people. In Jesus' day, there's a lot of spiritual credit being done where the Pharisees did things very publicly. As disciples of Jesus, we have to live countercultural. We're not seeking the accolades of other people. So for spiritual leadership, leaders that lead the way Jesus leads are individuals who are not pursuing the accolades or the roar of the crowd or the credit. They seek the good of other individuals, and they seek the spiritual life that they have and the work that they do purely for the sake of the glory of God and the good of other individuals. And it's a very different leadership style. And this isn't just true in Jesus' day, in our day as well. Here we have this massive stadium with a lot of people cheering and the fans going wild and things like that. The culture is built around this notion of getting credit or getting accolades. And so spiritual leaders seek for the good of others, the glory of God, and aren't seeking for credit or the sound or roar of the crowd, but instead we do our work for the sake of the glory of God. And that's true whether this leadership is in a church, in a business, in our homes, or on a baseball field, wherever it is, that the leadership that we exhibit, if we're going to lead like Jesus, is a leadership that seeks the good of others and the glory of God and not for our own credit.